ASML's crucial role on the chip-making stage has brought it wild success over the past few years, making it even more valuable today than Intel, one of the biggest chip makers it supplies.
It's double-digit growth every year, and we're not a startup. We have now 32,000 people.
Peter Wenning has been CEO since 2013, but he joined ASML back in 1999, just 15 years after its humble beginnings. It started as a subsidiary of Dutch electronics giant Philips in 1984, conducting research out of a leaky shed next to a Philips office building in Eindhoven in the Netherlands.
They were in financial dire straits, so we had no money. We were poor. And because the problems Philips had were so big, nobody looked at this little outfit out there that was trying to do something crazy, so they neglected us.
Still, in its first year, the company successfully launched a first-of-its-kind machine that used precise rays of light to print tiny designs on silicon to make microchips, a technology known as lithography.
The first lithography tool really looked like a projector. There is basically a reticle which holds the image that you want to project. Then there is an optical system which is going to take this image and project it on the wafer.
Semiconductor lithography was invented in a US military lab, and for a long time, up through the 1980s, the key lithography firms were American, based in New England.
Chris Miller of Tufts University is writing a book called The Chip War: The Fight for the World's Most Critical Technology.
When the industry was getting ready to jump into the early stages of EUV research, none of the US firms were ready to take the plunge on what would be an expensive and risky proposition, whereas ASML was.
By 1988, ASML had 5 US offices with 84 employees, and a new Dutch office that eventually became its headquarters in Veldhoven, where CNBC took a tour earlier this month.
We're walking through the EUV factory, which is about 50,000 square meters of space with 1,500 employees who are working in shifts 7 by 24 to produce 100% of the EUV machines shipped worldwide from this facility.
With a breakthrough machine, ASML started turning a profit and went public on the Amsterdam and New York Stock Exchange in 1995. By the 2000s, ASML was acquiring California tech companies like Silicon Valley Group and various key suppliers like Cymer in San Diego, where we also got an inside look at the cleanroom where ASML's light source is produced.
So this is actually the nozzle manufacturing area where we actually build the nozzles. This is actually the piece where the tint shoots out of. That's what's going to create your EUV.
EUV refers to extreme ultraviolet, an incredibly short wavelength of light that ASML uses to print smaller, more complex chips. But developing this revolutionary technology was incredibly expensive.
We didn't have the money, so we went out and we found partners, which actually was the basis of the way that we built the company. So we were forced to be a system architect and a system integrator.
In 2012, ASML offered about a quarter of its shares to its biggest 3 customers: Intel, Samsung, and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., or TSMC.
They had to accelerate the R&D for EUV, and the only way they could do this is to get their largest customers involved. And one way you can make your commitment real is to make them a shareholder.
ASML is a Dutch company, but it's also a Dutch company that relies very heavily on US components, in particular for its machines, and at this point relies also very heavily on one Taiwanese customer for its sales.
TSMC made up nearly 40% of ASML's sales last year,